field's planted, we can then just go straight off on filling the BGA up, skipping a couple of days, then I think the clover's going to be ready to cut. So we may end up out in the Challenger again, just running the mowers around the clover fields. I won't mess around. The mowers do windrow, so yeah, we'll just have to bale and then wrap, and I won't subject the stream to a 3-hour wrapping session. But or shipping all the bales down to the BGA again. So those things do take a long time to do, and I don't find them fun. Gonna be a lot easier in Farm Sim 22 when you can have workers running shipments from one place to another. Though depending on the map I pick, some of the maps don't look. For example, Calmsden, it doesn't look like it's possible on Calmsden to run a farm silo to anywhere. The farm silo is just horrible to get in and out of. So you're really looking at you have to fill or empty anything at the farm silo. But once a tractor's full, taking it to a sell point, probably not. Yeah, probably something a worker can do. So there's likely to be a lot of, well, I'll fill it up and then the worker can take it off and dump it and come back, and then I've got to fill it up again. But it's still one less thing I have to do, or I have to do the entirety of. And that's kind of the problem we have, or part of the problem I have here, is I can't, when we're selling stuff, the worker just, I have to do 100% of it. The worker can't do any of it. So I have to have if there's other jobs to do, like here, I can have the worker do this while I'm doing something else, but middle of winter, I got nothing for a worker to do. So the entire thing revolves around me driving between the farm silo and a sell point. And so you either need Follow Me, which is now available in Farm Sim 22, in order to maximise the amount of stuff you can take with you, or you're just constantly driving one vehicle. Now that said, we now have 2 carts plus the truck. So that is at least something. I think we're up to about 120,000 litres that we can cart in a convoy. So that might get things done a little bit faster. — 120,000 litres. That's potentially just 2 trips for some of the stuff we have. Let's go have a look. We'd get all the canola in one, we'd get all of the sunflowers. Sugar beets is going to be the big haulage thing. And we've got rye. That's close to 3 loads. Oops. but still, that's a lot less than we've had to do in the past. You know, shipping 50,000 at a time. That's 6 loads for 300,000 litres, and I can now do that in half the time. Yeah, maybe not too bad. I guess it depends how many shipments we have to take to Hilltop stores, because that's a pain for some of our longer tractor trailers. Lower it and go. I'm still wondering how much that field costs with the corn in it. See that one? Oh, yeah. 590. I don't think I can afford that somehow. And even if I borrowed the money, I doubt the sales of the corn would make up for it. Still, we're getting there. I'm still not seeing much in the way of interesting, games that interest me. I haven't played any Truck Sim for a very long time. About the only other game I really play much of anything is Train Sim World 2. Typically the Pennine route. It leads to Manchester or something like that. Getting quite good at that. As far as route learning is concerned, I'm pretty good on that one. Oh, we should probably cruise control it. And then we'll stop slowing down. But I'm sat in this chair for sort of 8 hours a day. And really not. My age is getting to me. So after working all day, I really need to go and sit on the sofa, rest my butt for a while. Oh, we did hear from our office that plans for going back to work, absolutely none. Apparently another department's moved into our building, so there are no desk spaces for any of us. But they are planning on doing our monthly meeting. They're going to be renting one, or booking one of the meeting rooms for an afternoon, and we'll have the meeting face to face, and food, and some sort of team building thing. I don't know. But outside of that, there are absolutely no plans to get us back into the office, which, looking at the price of gas at the moment, probably a good thing. Oh. Because right now, I think the average in the US is $4.50 a gallon, and we're right there in Michigan. So not too happy with that. Anyway, this job's nearly done. 10 o'clock. And because of the angle on the field now, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to stay on the planted section. Well, I mean, technically I should be running rows and then doing the headlands last. It's kind of a difficult habit to get out of sometimes, especially when you do a lot of the work with workers, and workers tend to prefer you to do the outside of the field first and then let them loose on the inside, as we saw earlier with them running all over our canola and oilseed radish twice. Okay. Oh yeah, and you know the YouTube farming news, Millennial Farmer still hasn't got round to starting seeding his crop this year. And he was saying, I think it was on the 12th, he was saying that last year he was done planting on the 10th. And on the 12th he hadn't even started, and then literally a couple of days later a tornado came through and shed fell down on his cedar, and 2 to 3 silos are gone. Although I think for the most part he got most of his crop out. But things not good for him right now. Just a little bit sad. Especially considering all of the other crap that's going on in the world. I've been hearing news from Sri Lanka, which is in a terrible state. And it would appear that a lot of it is their own government caused the problem. Their president or Prime Minister basically came in and said, okay, we're going green. All the farmers have to be organic, and so no artificial fertilizers allowed. The farmers had to adjust immediately. And in the last year, their rice production has dropped 20%. They've gone from a rice exporter to we don't produce enough food for the people who live here. Their tea, completely decimated. This week they were reporting we're down to 1 day's worth of gasoline. Usage of gasoline, and then we're done. And it's all, the Prime Minister just said, yeah, we got no more fossil fuels. We're just stopping it completely. And the country is a mess. Riots, no food. Even if you can get food, there's no gas or coal or oil or power to heat it, to heat the food on. It's a complete disaster. And with the lack of fertilizer this year, Sri Lanka was a voluntary, we're just not using any fossil fuels, so we're not using any artificial fertilizer because that's produced from oil. So that was self-inflicted, and potentially all of the countries that can't get fertilizer this year potentially looking at the same thing for everybody else next year. You know, if Sri Lanka's producing 80% or 20% less fuel, less food, and they can't. I don't think they're in a position where they can even recover now, because they have no food to export anymore. Yeah, they have no tea, they have no rice. They have to buy in food to feed their population, and they're not selling anything. And that, internationally, is a complete disaster. And all of the countries that are currently exporting because they have excess food potentially aren't going to have enough to feed their own populations next year. And I don't think, you know, the average person can do anything about it. If there's no diesel to run the tractors, there's, you know, production is way down. Yeah, it's going to be a disaster. Okay, that one's done. Let's go clean the Challenger. What did I say we needed the Challenger for? Oh, yeah, we might need to hitch it up to the thing. Actually, I'm going to run this down to the bottom yard, and we'll drop off the seed on the way past the seed bay. Alrighty, let's unload that there. Boop. And kind of handy having two pressure washers. Don't have to worry about everything always doing the top. And obviously much better to clean one of these things out when there isn't seed in it. Good grief, paint on this is well aged. I think it looks good, nice. You know, the whole wear and tear of the condition of equipment. Okay, put this out here. You might need to change the camera angle. Yeah, that's not too good. Let's try that again. These bays are a little bit wider than the equipment. Should sell that potato harvester as well, or planter. Anyway, we are done with that. Shut that. And we'll take this back up to the vehicle shed. I should consider putting the sugar beet harvester up here as well, but getting kind of crowded. And drop that there. There we go. Okay, I'm going to drive this Oh, I can just, let's look forwards. And there we go. And that should fit right there really nicely. Stick it, drive, engine off, jump out. Okay. So that is kind of another day on the farm. Let's go find this guy here. How are we doing? 26,000. Nice. Okay, we can bounce that up to times 15 again, and shovel these. Whoops. Very carefully, do not knock that over. Shovel these into the digester, and this job will be done, and we can run the JCB back to the yard, at least for a while. I like to use the JCB on the wrapper, so it'll be good to have this back in time for the clover cut. That looks about right. Carefully stab that, tip it back, lift it up, and reverse. Turn left and well, that's different, I guess. Let's tip it back a bit more. Okay, that's just 16,000, so hopefully 36 is close. Oh, you stupid thing. Well, that disappeared. Hang on a minute. Okay, back again. And yeah, sometimes Grandpa talks for hours and sometimes he doesn't. He's kind of lonely, so I guess it depends how many people he wants to talk to, as opposed to he just wants to talk to somebody. Anyway, let's see how much of this we can get done. That's 2 bales, almost 2 bales. And that one can drop. Okay, so taking a little bit longer than I really would like it to. Oh, there we go. And, oh, don't do that. Oh, we'll see what happens. Oh, that happened. I think one fell in and the other one fell down the back. I think for the most part I'm going to try and not to use super strength in our next series. However, no matter what, it is difficult to avoid when just annoying, physics happens. But loading trailers and the like, I'm going to try and limit us to, we'll use some form of front loader. You know, whether I go telehandler or a skid steer maybe. I haven't used the skid steer. In fact, I specifically avoided using a skid steer in law folds, which one of the pieces of starting machinery you got on that farm was a JCB a JCB skid steer. I just dumped that out the gate. Didn't want that. And well, and I think for the most part in that series we just used front loader tractors and the Kramer. I think we had 2 Kramers in that series. One at the farm and then one at the BGA. Might be one at the store, but this time we actually got into using telehandlers, which is a good thing. Skid steers not so easy. I mean, the thing is with them, they do have a little bit of elevation, but they don't have depth. Oh, it's done it again. You... Thank you. Just knock it on my head. They're kind of like front loaders. I mean, they don't have good reach. So you have to load trailers from both sides or slide things on.